Hi everybody, so this is video 3 and we're going to be talking about the 5 ways of Thomas Aquinas. I'm not going to give you background information on Thomas Aquinas. If you want to look him up, go for it. He is one of our early church fathers. We appreciate a lot of the work that he did. I don't know how else to say it other than that. But if I had gone back through confirmation instead of, I still love the saint that I picked for my confirmation name, but I probably would pick Thomas Aquinas the second time going through. One of the things that a lot of people don't know about me is I went through a very difficult time where I didn't think God existed anymore. And surprisingly, reading Thomas Aquinas is one of the things that kind of pulled me back in this understanding that, okay, it is rational to believe in God. Also, side note, I'm shooting a lot of the videos on the same day, so if I'm wearing the same outfit, I do actually go home and bathe, but multiple videos on one day. Okay, so let's dive in. These are hard. As I talk to you about them, I'm probably gonna mess up, okay? So, sorry, I'll do my best. The very first way that Thomas Aquinas tells us that we can rationally believe that a God exists, and this is not a Christian God. This simply means a maker, something that had no beginning, no end. We have a thing, okay? That's what we're calling God. It needs nothing. It is not contingent. I talked in the last video about how everything on earth is contingent. We all need something else in order to exist. There has to be something, however, that doesn't need anything, okay? So kind of hang on to that. We're not talking about the Christian God yet. Unmoved mover is his first way. So what does that mean? When we think of time, what is time? It's a unit of measurement. It measures change. That's it. That's what time is. If things did not change, then we wouldn't need time, okay? We would not need time. I want to kind of explain actually the first 3 ways together because they're extremely similar. There's just certain nuances that I'm going to go through. His second way is the uncaused cause. So essentially, if we have a universe with a beginning, something that needed to be began couldn't have, we need something. At some point in existence, there has to be a beginning that needed no beginning. Hurts your head? Good. Join the club. And then the third one is going to be the argument for contingency, which we've already jumped into. So I'm going to just explain these kind of mushed together because otherwise I'm going to mess up. So, okay. Everything that exists is related to something else. Fair to say? Everything in existence is related to something else. So let's talk about people, okay? Every single person had parents, okay? Every person had parents. However, it is impossible for that to go on forever into the past. It's the chicken and the egg conundrum, essentially. What came first, the chicken or the egg? So let's look at it this way. How do you get trees from a seed? So if we have a pecan tree, the pecan tree drops the pecan that grows into a tree. The fancy philosophical words for this are actuality and potentiality. So the seed has potentiality, because it's not done yet, right? It's not actualized. When it's actualized, it's a tree that produces more fruit. Okay? So these are the philosophical words. So what a pecan seed is full of potential, full of potentiality. It is not actualized. It's not met its end. It is not serving its ultimate purpose yet, okay? However, could that pecan seed create itself? No, because it's in potential. It's not actualized yet. It could not create a seed, okay? Can a full tree that is actualized, it's reached its potential, could that tree, fully actualized, create itself? The answer is no. Now, when we look way into the past, if we keep going, you cannot have an infinite regress. You cannot go forever into the past with things that need something to create it. At some point, you're going to hit a wall. You have to have a creator. And that is what Aquinas calls God. Now, when we look at this from a contingency place, every single thing in the universe needs let's talk about our world. Everything in the world needs something else in order to exist. I need something else. I need parents. I need food. I need water. I need, the temperatures to be right. I say that I need them to be right. I can only live in like a certain scope of temperatures. We need lots of things, okay? Basic food, water, shelter. We need those things. What Aquinas tells us is if something didn't exist, everything could not exist. If water didn't exist, we wouldn't exist, okay? We as we know ourselves today, we could not do it without water. And if we start to question, okay, do we think our universe goes on forever into the past? This is where, the infinity argument comes into play. If it is possible for something that we needed to exist to not exist, in infinity, it would not exist. It's kind of like a fun, dicey little what? Anyway, I'm not going to go too far into that, but if you have questions about it, please ask me. So the other one then that we're going to talk about is we are dependent. We are dependent on everything around us. See, this is why I group them together, because the uncaused cause and the argument for contingency are so similar. We are dependent on things around us to create us. You cannot forever go into the past with things that needed something else to create them. We need a start. And that start is what Thomas Aquinas calls God. Okay? This is how we're using the terminology. Now, the next way, and I love, this is probably my favorite way, is grades of perfection. This is his fourth way. What does that mean? So we have a scale of perfection. If I asked you, if I put, if I just sent you on a mission, I said, find me the perfect person, all of you'd be like, that's not a thing because nobody's perfect. I don't know that you'd say it in that voice, but you might. But we all, for whatever reason, have an understanding there is no such thing as a perfect person. Okay, why do we have that perfection scale? If you have never encountered perfection, how the heck do you know what perfect is? If I put, I'm a plant hoarder. If I put one of my plants in front of you and I was like, find a perfect leaf, you'd be like, there isn't one. I don't even need to look. Let's say I find, I put you in a greenhouse and I'm like, find me a perfect leaf. At one point, you might think you found it, but I bet you could pick it apart and be like, well, it lacks perfection because of this. Okay, we have these grades of perfection. Where the heck did they come from? If we have never seen something perfect, why does every single one of us yearn for perfection? This is something that is a mark on you. If you look at yourself, just yourself, you don't even look at your environment. This is a mark internally that tells you there's something else. At some point, these grades of perfection have to meet their peak. There has to be perfection. It's just not here. So where does it come from? One of the ones that struck me the most, so we usually talk about beauty, goodness, and truth as like the transcendentals. It's just another big word if you want to use it. If someone's talking to you and you don't want them to talk to you anymore, just say transcendental, metaphysical, things like that, and they'll walk away. I've done it, it works. Now, if we are talking about perfection, the one that really struck me is perfect home. This is what that means. Have you ever been happy? Let's say that you're with your favorite people, you're with your best friends, or you're with family that you really love, or maybe you're just hanging out with your dog. And I bring up the dogs a lot because my dog, my kids are like, why is Lola your screensaver? Because Lola's excellent and my kids are little stinkers half the time. That's why she's my screensaver, but I love my dog. So you might be hanging out with your dog, but inside, have you ever felt that tugging that you are not where you are meant to be? The way I describe it is it's almost like I'm an alien. I'm waiting for the mothership to come back and get me or something like that. But it's very strange. It's like this internal tug that's just like, you aren't home. Okay? The very famous quote coming from Augustine is, my heart is restless until it rests in you. And that is, again, that desire for perfection and the fact that there's got to be it somewhere. We're seeking it. It's got to be somewhere. That perfection is what Aquinas calls God. Our final one. Things without intelligence work for the sake of an end. What does that mean? Things without intelligence have a goal and they achieve it, and it's weird. Example, take a sunflower seed. You have your earth, you dig a little hole, you drop the seed in. It does not matter which direction you put that seed in, it's going to grow the correct way. Does that seed have a brain? It does not. No brain, okay? It responds to its environment and says, okay, the roots need to go this direction, I need to shoot this direction because that's where the sun's gonna be. It does not have a brain. It responds to gravitational pull and temperature. That's cool. It is not intelligent, but it acts towards an end. Its ultimate goal is to produce seeds. And it meets its goal, and then it dies. Okay? So there's one example. The other example is things like gravity. We take it for granted that, we never think to ourselves like, I wonder if I'll wake up tomorrow and I'll float away. We never really worry about that. But there are things in our universe, very great things in our universe, that seem to operate under laws, even though they don't have brains, okay? They are unintelligent, and they act for a final end, for a final cause. It's really, it's purposeful order, I guess is how you could say it. It's really amazing, and that is what Aquinas calls God. Now, what I want you to write about is I want you to grab onto one of these ways and either tell me if you disagree with it, go for it, or let me know if it changed the way you think about anything or if one of them stood out for you. Again, the one that really struck me was that perfect home. I really relate to that because I always kind of had that feeling like, okay, I'm really happy. I love my husband, I love my family, I love being with them, but I get this pull. It's like I'm not home yet, and it's so weird. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Looking forward to the next one. I have no idea what it's going to be about yet, but hopefully you enjoy it. Bye.